Welcome back, students. So let's continue with the chemical reaction and chemical equation chapter. And in this part, we are going to study about the effects of oxidation and reduction reaction in our daily life. In the last class, I have discussed with you the chemical balancing, and now in this part, we are going to discuss the next part of our chapter, which is the effect of oxidation reaction in our daily life. So let's start here. I would like to draw your attention towards the some of the events which is going on in your daily life. When you bought fresh nails from the shop, it looks like something like this. Okay, when you bought some fresh nails, iron nails, these are the iron nails. When you bought fresh iron nails from the shop, it looks like this. But after some days, it changes to like this. Means a brown colored layer is being deposited on the nails, iron nails. Okay, so have you seen this? Have you seen this interchanging? Also a type of interchange you have seen in your daily life is that when you cut a apple, a freshly cutted apple looks like this. Okay, a freshly cutted apple looks like this, but when we keep it for some time, then after some time it appears to be look like this. It becomes reddish and somewhat tarnished. Okay, its surface becomes tarnished. Okay, so what are these changes which we are seeing in our daily life? Also, when you cut out potato, then freshly cutted potato is appearing white colored skin. Okay, white colored inner skin is there, but when it is kept for some time, then after that its inner skin becomes blackened there. Okay, it becomes black in color. So what are all these things, and what are all these kinds of observation which we are making here? So this is nothing other than the oxidation reaction here. Okay, here the iron nails are getting oxidized and they are forming this brown colored layer. Also, the inner layer or the skin of the apple here, inner skin of the apple here is getting oxidized and it is being converted into reddish skin like this. Okay, so here this part, when a metal or any inorganic substance is being oxidized, it is known as corrosion. Okay, when any metal or another substance is oxidized and being destroyed, it is called corrosion. But when an organic substance oxidizes and it gets destroyed, it is known as rancidity. Okay, it is known as rancidity. So for organic substance, the oxidation done is known as rancidity, while the for inorganic substances, the or the non-living things, when we see the oxidation and their destruction, then it is known as corrosion. Next, let's define corrosion. What is corrosion? So corrosion, the process of slow conversion of metals into their undesirable compounds, which are generally oxides. Okay, which are generally oxides, due to their reaction with oxygen, water, acids or gases, and many more other substances are also there which can corrode a metal present in the atmosphere. These all things are present in our atmosphere, and this process is known as corrosion. Example, the best example which I have given you in the previous slide only, which is rusting of iron, the process by which the surface of iron becomes tarnished or brown in color, and that particular surface is been destroyed up, is known as rusting of iron. Okay, and rusting of iron is that when iron reacts with oxygen and moisture present in the air. Okay, a brown brownish red substance, a brownish red substance which is called rust is formed out here. Okay, and the proper reaction here is that when iron's four atoms reacts with oxygen present in the air and moisture present in the air, then it forms 2Fe2O3 dot XH2O. Here this X is the number of the water particles present in this solid, and this is known as hydrated ferric oxide. The chemical name of rust is hydrated ferric oxide, and the chemical formula of rust is 2Fe2O3 dot XH2O. Okay, it is a brownish red colored substance. Okay, brownish red colored substance. You have seen this rusting in your daily life, when generally when you brings up some iron item from the shop, then it is shining, it has shining surface, but after some time that shiny surface is been converted into dull red colored surface. Okay, and this is known as the rusting of iron. Rusting of iron is an oxidation process, because here you can see that Fe here, the iron metal, is reacted with oxygen to form Fe2O3, which is ferric oxide. So here you can see that addition of oxygen is done out here. What is done out here? Addition of oxygen is done out and is done here. And due to this reason, we know that we have studied about the oxidation reaction. The oxidation reaction's definition was to add oxygen and to form a compound is known as oxidation. Okay, this was the definition here. So hence here you have added oxygen to the iron, so therefore iron has got oxidized here, or the corrosion of iron is nothing other than the oxidation of iron. Okay, let's move and see some more corrosions of other metals. So for other metals, the most common corrosion which you can see is the corrosion in copper. Okay, is the corrosion in copper metal. So in your homes, you have generally seen plates of copper being used. Okay, so there you or some other items of coppers are present. After some days, you can see this type of greenish layer is been formed out on the copper. So what is this? This is nothing other than corrosion of copper. Okay, this is corrosion of copper. This is also known as greening of copper. Greening of copper. Okay, and you know about this Statue of Liberty, one of the eight wonders of the world. Okay, Statue of Liberty, which is located at America, USA. Okay, so the real color of Statue of Liberty is reddish colored, which is the color for brownish color, which is the original color for your copper. But now presently it looks like this greenish tint. It has formed out a greenish tint like this. Okay, so the reason behind this greenish tint is that it has been corroded. All the copper, the Statue of Liberty is made up of copper, so hence after the corrosion there, after the corrosion of that copper, a green colored layer is been formed over it, and now the color of the Statue of Liberty has become greenish in color. Okay, so this is one of the example for your copper's greening or corrosion in copper. Copper is naturally a brown metal and turns a shade of bright green as it corrodes. Okay, it turns into a bright green shade, which I have shown you in this picture. Also in this picture you can see that thing. So it turns into bright green color as it corrodes. While some consider copper's reaction to be tarnish rather than oxidation. Okay, it is generally known as tarnish rather than oxidation. Okay, next is the corrosion seen in other metal like silver. You have seen the corrosion in silver also. So if you have seen silver atoms, so after some time you will see that silvers are generally shiny metal, with silvery tint. Okay, it is having a silvery tint, but after some time you will see that it has become tarnished and its shine has been gone. Its shine has been gone. Okay, so this tarnishing or this shine removal is due to the process that the silver metal reacts with the hydrogen sulfide gas and the oxygen present in the air. Okay, the silver metal reacts with the hydrogen sulfide gas and the oxygen present in the air, and it forms silver sulfide, which is a black colored compound, black or dark blue colored compound. Okay, and this is the main reason for the tarnishing of the silver items. Okay, silver is known to be resistant to copper corrosion. Okay, generally it is known to resistance to copper, but it generally does not oxidizes easily. It generally does not oxidizes easily. It does not react readily with the oxygen. Okay, but when silver, okay, so this black colored compound is formed. It is known as silver sulfide, and this silver is attacked by sulfur which is present in the atmosphere, and the chemical reaction leaves the metal with a brown black patina. Okay, this is known as patina. The blackening of silver is known as the patina. Okay, which does not result in much metal loss. Okay, which does not result in much metal loss as comparison to that of in rusting or that of in the greening of copper. Okay, the attack also result in black fissures. Fissures means small spots will be formed out there. Okay, or pits, small, very small, tiny pits will be formed out there. Okay, due to this corrosion in silver. So this was the corrosion. This was the corrosion in different metals. Next is the how to prevent the corrosion, how we can prevent the corrosion. Okay, so for preventing the corrosion there are some of the measures which we can. Next is the prevention of corrosion. So the different measures which we can use to prevent the corrosion are, the first is the painting of the metal which we are using. Okay, so if we provide a coat, protective coat which is made up of paint. Okay, so it is a cost effective way. It is a cost effective way, means in very low cost we can use the paint which are coming there in the market, and we can use it to coat the metals which we want to prevent from corrosion. In our home you have seen that we are painting our metal grills. Okay, grills or metal doors, all these things we are painting with oil paints. So the reason for the painting is that we want to protect it from being get corroded. Okay, and it also makes them to look beautiful also, but beautiful and erratic. But the main reason to paint the iron atoms is to coat them and to prevent them to come into direct contact with the moisture and the oxygen present in the air, which helps them to do the electrochemical reaction there to form the rust. Okay, to corrode the iron. Next is the one of the expensive measure is that we can powder coat the metals. Okay, powder coating or spray painting, other name for this it is spray painting. In this process a dry powder is applied to the clean metal surface, and the metal is then heated with fuses, which fuses the metal is then fuses with the powder into a smooth unbroken film. Means a layer of that powder will be formed out on the upper side of the upper surface of the metal, which which acts as a protective layer for the metal. A number of different powder compositions can be used, including acrylic, polyester, epoxy, nylon, and urethane. All these are the types of powders which are used to uh, coat on the metal surfaces. Okay, they can be acrylic powder coating, there can be polyester powder coating, there can be epoxy powder coating, there can be nylon powder coating, and also urethane powder coating can be used out there, but it is one of the expensive method. Okay, generally you have seen colored rims of the vehicles. Okay, colored rims of the vehicles you have seen na? So that are the example of the powder coating. Okay, the vehicles rims are generally powder coated. Next is the corrosion is mainly caused by a chemical reaction. Yes, we know that it is a oxidation reaction. So by taking measures to control the environment, these unwanted reactions can also be minimized. For example, I'm giving you an example here. If I am comparing two conditions, one condition is the condition which is in the mainland. Mainland means away from, far away from sea area, and another example is of a coastal area, coastal land area. Okay, so in the mainland, the oxygen in the air is in appreciable amount, but the moisture is very lower in amount. Okay, it is very lower in amount. While in case of coastal area, the oxygen is in appreciable amount, and the moisture in the air is higher. Also, this moisture contains salinity in it. Salinity means the as you know that the ocean water is saline in nature. Saline means salty. Okay, it is saline or salty, and it is due to the presence of salts, dissolved salt in it. So this water is only present in the form of moisture in the atmosphere near the coastal regions. So this salty water accelerates or catalyzes, accelerates or catalyzes. I have given you the definition of catalyst na? So it catalyzes the oxidation reaction or rusting or corrosion. Okay, it oxidizes the rusting or corrosion. While in case of mainland, the corrosion is slow. The corrosion is slow as comparison to that of in the coastal region. So hence the environment also plays an very important role for the corrosion process. Okay, so by reducing the amount of corroding substances, such as the corroding substances, some of the corroding substances are the sulfur, chlorine, or oxygen. So oxygen generally we cannot reduce, but sulfur and chlorine emission can be reduced by using less amount of uh, petroleum products, and by producing less smoke. Okay, due to combustion of any other of the fuels. So also I have told you that if you let out metal surfaces to be directly facing the rain, or if they are in directly contact with the sea water, then naturally the process of the corrosion will catalyze, and it will corrode fastly. Okay, it will corrode more rapidly as comparison to that of the normal conditions. Next, one of the important method to protect the metal surfaces from being get corroded is the galvanization. Okay, it is the galvanization. What is galvanization? Coating the metal surface with an additional metal type that is very much preventive to the oxidation process or to the corrosion. Okay, so to coat a metal, a more reactive metal with a less reactive metal, okay, it is known as galvanization. This process is known as galvanization. For example, coating of iron alloy steel. You know about stainless steel. Okay, generally utensils and all these things are made up of stainless steel. So this stainless steel is generally coated with zinc. Okay, and this process is known as zinc coating over the iron alloy steel is known as galvanization. Okay, galvanization. And generally this process is used for making steel pipelines, okay, which carries fuels or water, and water heater. It is generally used in water heaters, tanks, ship hulls, offshore oil platforms, and all these places where application of water is general. So in order to protect our metal, we use galvanization process here, which is coated. This metal steel is coated here with zinc, which is less reactive as comparison to that of the iron or steel with the water. Next, some other example is that iron alloy steel is coated with tin also. Okay, it is coated with tin also, which is more preventive to corrosion, and it is used at some of the places. Okay, and it is used at some of the places. Next, a light coat of protective material such as metal oxides creates a protective layer over the metal, which acts as a barrier against the corrosion. This type of also thing can be seen. It is generally used in petroleum refining, okay, chemical production, and water treatment, because some of the metals are reactive to some of general processes. So in order to prevent that thing, what happens, we provide a metal oxide layer, okay, which is, as you know that the process, the corrosion is nothing other than oxidation of metal. So if we are providing before only a metal oxide layer there, so no further oxidation can be done out there. So it helps in some of the processes that includes the petroleum refining. In petroleum refining, some metals are very reactive to the petroleum product. So to prevent that thing, we use their metal oxides to layer that particular tanks or the instrument which are made up of metals there. Okay, and also in chemical production, some of the chemical production, we can see that they can directly react to some other substances and can produce hazards there. So in order to protect that thing also, we use metal oxides there. And in water treatment works also, if unwanted things or unwanted substances gets into our water, then it can make it harmful for us, and then it can make it harmful for us. So in order to protect that also, we use a layer of metal oxides in such kind of processes. Rusting of iron can be prevented by painting, oiling, greasing. Okay, greasing, generally we do greasing in our doors, windows, joints. Okay, in order to provide and prevent it from rusting. Okay, galvanizing is also one process. I have told you before also, iron pipes are galvanized in order to use for water pipelines. Okay, chrome plating is done. Okay, we chrome plating is generally used in vehicles and all these things. Anodizing is also a process which is used. Anodizing means to provide a negative charge to the surface of the metal, which makes it less reactive towards the oxygen present in the air. Okay, and also making alloys such as stainless steel. Okay, so stainless steel or brass is more preventive metals as comparison to that of the copper or iron, and they rust or they corrode slowly as comparison to that of their parent materials. Okay, next, alloys. What are alloys? Let's talk about alloys. What are the alloys? So alloy is a mixture of two or more metals. Okay, one of which is alloy is mixture of two or more elements, one of which it is a metal. Okay, generally one of which it is a metal. Alloy often have properties that are different from their metals or their parent metals. Okay, generally they are having different properties from the parent metals of which they are made up of. Generally alloys are stronger, harder, and uh, they are less malleable. Generally they are less malleable and less ductile as comparison to that of their parent metals. Okay, also as I have told you here that their properties are different from their parent metals. Okay, so the property is they are mixed with another elements in order to change this property only, because due to that property some of the faults also came out there. Okay, one of the main reason to make alloy is that to prevent them from getting corroded. Okay, as you know that due to the property of being malleable and due to being ductile, some of the metals gets corrosion and that gets being corroded very easily. Okay, it means they react and they form oxidize oxides with the oxygen present in the air very ready. Okay, so in order to protect this thing, we generally form alloy here. Next, adding a small amount of carbon makes iron hard and strong also. Okay, generally the pure iron, which is also known as pig iron, okay, pig iron is very soft. It is very soft and it is not durable for making big machineries which can bear very much stress or load. Okay, so in order to make it strong and hard, some amount of carbon is added to this iron, okay, to make it more strong and more hard thing. So this type of addition is also known as alloying only. Okay, now next, stainless steel example of an alloy, one of the best example for a alloy which we used in our daily life. It is nothing other than mixing of iron with nickel and chromium. Okay, when nickel and chromium are used both used together, then they are termed as nichrome. Okay, so when iron is mixed with nichrome, so it forms a stainless steel. It forms stainless steel, which is more durable than iron. Which is more durable than iron. It is hard, does not rust easily. Does not rust easily. It is used to produce utensils, kitchenware, okay, bathroom fixtures, building purpose materials, power tools. Okay, power tools also is made by them only. Weaponaries, weapons are also formed with them. Even some jewelries are also formed with them. Bentex jewelry, generally known as, which is made by steel. Okay. Next, mercury is added to some of the metals. Some of the metals we add mercury to form amalgam. Amalgamation is also a process to prevent or to make alloys. Okay, but generally amalgam is unwanted. We does not want to form amalgams because it is unwanted. Okay, in some conditions it is very destructive. Next, I can give you some more examples for alloy, such as brass. Okay, brass is one of the example for your alloy. Also magnesium. Okay, magnesium plus aluminium. Okay, magnesium plus aluminium, or also known as aeroplane metal. Aeroplane metal. As you know that aluminium is the lightest element, we know, but with being lightest, it is less durable to the impact force or the air pressure which will be produced out in the upper layer of our earth atmosphere. Okay, so in order to make aircraft, aeroplane, not aeroplane metals, it is known as aircraft metal. Sorry, I have given you the wrong name here. It will be aircraft metal. Okay, it will be aircraft metal. Aircraft metal. Okay, so when aluminium is alloyed with magnesium, then it forms alloy which is known as magneline. And this magneline is more durable as comparison to that of your aluminium, and it is lighter also. It is very much lighter and it is very much stronger than that of the aluminium. So hence this magneline alloy is also known as aircraft metal. Okay, so this was about corrosion. Let's move to the next part, which is the rancidity. Okay, so what is rancidity? Rancidity, the taste and odor of food material containing fats and oil changes when they are left exposed to air for a long time. Okay, and during this exposure to the air, what happens? The food, the oil and fat present in the food, or the organic substances present in the food, gets reacted with the oxygen present in the air, and it gets oxidized. So this is known as rancidity. This is known as rancidity. Generally you have seen that when potato chips after fried potato chips, if are left for some time, then after some time it becomes soft, it gets softer, and also its taste also foul taste comes out there. Okay, foul taste comes out there. So this is nothing other than rancidity. This is nothing other than rancidity. Also, I have given you an example before also that the skin of the cleaved or cut apple. Okay, when we cut an apple, then the skin of the apple becomes reddish after some time. Skin of apple becomes reddish. So that is also an example of your rancidity. Okay, so this type of things is happen due to the oxidation of the organic substance present in our food or oil containing substances. Okay, also you eat papad na? So on frying papad, after some time it becomes soft, and its taste also becomes foul. So this is the reason that it becomes rancid. Okay, so how we can prevent rancidity? By adding antioxidants. These antioxidants provides the substances the preventive preventive measure that we can add antioxidants and they can prevent them from getting oxidized. Okay, also vacuum packing is used. Okay, we will talk this in the next slide. And replacing the air by nitrogen also we can use, or also by refrigeration of the food substance. We can refrigerate our food substance in order to prevent them from rancidity, because in lower temperature generally the oxidation process does not occurs. Let's move further. A question is generally asked that in the paper from this topic is that why and you have seen in your daily life also, when you buy a potato chip. Okay, let's say it is of any company, and or you have bought any mixture. Okay, generally mixture. So you have seen that the packets of this are filled with some of the gases, are filled with gases. So what is the reason behind we are filling it with gas? And generally that gas is nitrogen gas. Okay, so why we are flushing this potato chips packets and mixture packets with or packaged food packets with nitrogen gas? What is the reason behind it? The reason behind is that first thing is that nitrogen gas generally in normal condition act as inert gas. Inert means it does not show any reaction. Okay, it generally act as inert gas. It means it does not show any reaction. Okay, so if I'm talking about potato chips, so it is fried, or if I'm talking about mixture, so it is also fried. So in that thing oil or fat must be there. So this nitrogen does not react with this potato chips or this mixtures oil or fat, and hence it prevents it to react from any other gases also. So if I am taking a packet and filling it with nitrogen gas, so no space will be left out there for any other gas to take the space of the nitrogen gas there, and hence it is been prevented from being get oxidized there. Also why nitrogen gas is only used here? Because nitrogen gas is one of the lightest gas we can use here. Okay, it is one of the lightest gas we can use here, and also it provides when we use the nitrogen gas there and fill nitrogen gas in that packets, then it provides a cushion effect. A cushion effect is been provided there, which protects our chips and all other food items or packaged food items from getting breaking out. Okay, during the transportation time. So this was the reason why we are flushing the packaged food with nitrogen gas. Okay, so this was for your oxidation and rancidity. And in the next class we would try to cover up the some of the important questions from your chapter chemical reactions and chemical equation. So for now, I am closing the class. Thank you for watching this video and be safe and be at your home.